Hi everyone, Patricia Worby, Alchemy Therapies here, and today I'm going to be talking about the subject of the Adult Attachment Repair Model, or AARM. And just once in a while, something comes along which really shakes the foundations of what we think we know. And I think this is one such example. Now, over the weekend, I was involved in watching an online conference set up by my good friend Michael Roseline, who has constructed this amazing platform called innora.com, where he's allowing people who need help with trauma contact people who work in the trauma field, but in particular people who don't normally advertise themselves, who are working quietly behind the scenes, doing work that's perhaps not state supported or recognized. So outside of the realm of psychology and psychiatry, because actually some of the best approaches we're now finding out are those that use the body rather than just changing the way you think. And in fact, this is called a bottom-up approach. And it's one that I've been researching, using, developing in my own practice for about 8 years now. Now, I first came across trauma work because of the kinds of people that came to see me. And originally I was a body worker. I've done several videos on my sort of journey and how I got to be doing what I'm doing. But I started doing massage about 10, 12 years ago, and noticed that a lot of people that were coming to me would have recurring pain syndromes that didn't go away. And I would give them treatment, which released them, allowed them to continue to function. But 2 or 3 weeks later, they'd be back in the same situation. And I know that a lot of chiropractors see this, a lot of osteopaths who are in the alternative sort of field, but they're not trained in trauma. And so they often don't know that there are other reasons for why people get locked into chronic tension in their bodies, in particular fascia. The fascia in the body tightens in response to stress. And stress doesn't have to be just what's going on in your life. It can be things that you haven't metabolized, things that you haven't digested emotionally from the past. And it can even go back as far as birth or pre-birth. But in general, it's usually during the childhood years that these kind of imprints get laid down. And this is a form of implicit or trauma memory. So the body holds memory, which can be triggered by the current life. And so you can think that what's happening in the current life is the thing that's caused the problem. But it's often just the trigger, just the straw that breaks the camel's back, as we say. So actually, it's a very important understanding. And there are many tools out there now which do allow people to resolve this form of implicit or body memory. And there is a scientific explanation. We now know that the limbic brain or emotional brain and brainstem, which are underneath the cortex, do store this kind of body memory. And the mind-body connection is very, very strong because you've got the vagus nerve, which is a massive, really long nerve in the body, which connects the back brain to the viscera. And you've got your sympathetic nervous system, which is spinal nerves, which again runs between the brain and the body. And you've also got your microbiome, the microbes that live in your gut, but also on your skin and in your nerves as well. There are mitochondria are always transmitting information, and because they were once bacteria, they kind of talk between each other. So your microbes and your mitochondria talk between each other, they communicate. And this is another way that the organism, us, knows the state of our being. So we have this mind-body connection, which is really, really strong. And so what happens to your body actually affects the way you feel. And symptoms like anxiety and panic attacks, flashbacks, even chronic pain, as I've intimated already, they are the echoes of what happened to you. Your body keeps the score, as a famous book was said to quote. So I was very intrigued by this new model, which seems to do what I do with EMDR, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is simply where you bilaterally stimulate the brain by getting people to watch your fingers or lights, or sometimes you tap on them. You can also do it with sound, but the main thing is that the input goes in each side, and this seems to stimulate the left and right hemispheres. Now, that's what I use, but what this developer of AARM, Peter Cummings, has developed is a completely new to me anyway method of working, which uses the same idea, this bottom-up processing, which happens spontaneously in the body when you give the body the right information. And the right information is usually linked to safety, to grounding, because when you've been traumatized in any way, and trauma is not just what happens to you, it's what doesn't happen to you that needed to happen to you. So if you felt overwhelmed or conflicted in an environment where you actually didn't have the right support, then that can be traumatizing, and the body remembers that and stores it. So we know that this is true, but what we hadn't understood until very, very recently is how the body wants to seek resolution in order to kind of reprogram the neural pathways. And as I've said, a lot of them are coming from the body. You have more nerves in your gut than say the equivalent of a cat's brain. So your gut is equally as intelligent as your cat. There's an idea. So what we're asking the body to do is what it naturally wants to do by getting the blocks to healing out of the way. And this is a very different view from conventional medicine, which says that when you're sick, there's something organically wrong that only an expert can fix, and it's usually drugs or surgery. From a natural medicine point of view, what we're saying is the body has an innate healing mechanism, and all we have to do is activate that innate healing mechanism by getting rid of the blocks in the chain that are preventing that natural healing, and it's usually from the body to the brain. Now, when I'm working with EMDR, and I do it in a very particular way, I spot that most people start with an issue lower down in their body. So if I say to them, when you think about this problem, where do you feel it? People usually find it's either in their chest or in their gut. And this is what Peter was saying as well, Peter Cummings. So he was saying that you tend to hold in the viscera the memory of what happened to you as a sense of usually dread or fear or anger, sometimes sadness. There's all sorts of emotions that can be linked to these feelings. But when you start to resolve that held pattern, it moves. And I've observed this many, many times, both using EMDR and tapping, actually, that the feelings move. It was the basis of my PhD, actually, where I was looking at traumatic components of chronic pain. And I noticed that with treatment, people often found that the patterns of pain moved from around the body, which of course conventional medicine has no explanation for whatsoever. But if you understand that the nervous system, in particular your autonomic nervous system, which is kind of automatic behind the scenes, running everything, nervous system, if you understand that it's a complex system and you look at it from complexity theory that says systems are self-organizing, then you kind of have an explanation for why changing the program causes the system to realign, and it usually moves upwards. And so problems that start lower down will usually come up. Sometimes if they were in the lower gut, they come up into the stomach and a person feels sick. If they were in the chest, they often come up into the throat and they'll feel a lump in their throat or a tightness in their shoulders, until the system is able to resolve and release. And so complexity theory is a much better way, or systems biology is a much better way of understanding how the body works than simply looking at organs as separate entities that don't talk to each other, which is how modern medicine is organized in specialties. So it's a neurological rebalancing, therefore, that we're looking to enact. How do we help people? I use tapping, EMDR. I sometimes use imaginal experiencing as well. But Peter has developed this model which uses a stick. Now I'm just going to stop there. All right, the stick method. Now, he kept seeding this throughout the interview, and I kind of, what's the stick method? What on earth? Do you just use a stick and wave it, or you tap it on someone? No, it's quite a large stick, and that's important. It's tactile, and it's ridged, so you can kind of hold it at one end and feel it's wooden. And he holds the other end, and he demoed this, and I've watched the recording 3 times now just to follow it. I was just absolutely fascinated. So you get someone to sit down and just close their eyes, which is generally how one works with hypnotherapy, just to concentrate on what their body is feeling in that moment. And the lady that he worked with was saying she could feel something. It felt like butterflies. She wasn't sure. And he said, just hold with that for a moment. Allow it to be. Now, those words, allow it, are very, very important when you're working with this kind of bottom-up approach, this somatic approach, because you don't want to force anything, and you certainly don't want to guide anyone in a particular way that you think is the right way, because the body actually holds the information, and it's the body that needs to resolve it. So we truly are the guides to that. We are not the experts in this sense. The body is the expert. And again, that's another difference between the way we work and maybe the way conventional psychiatry works. And so he got her just to hold with that sensation and watch it, observe it. That's very, very key, because that brings the prefrontal cortex, which is just behind your eyes, online, curiosity, observation. And already you're starting to integrate experience and what you feel about the experience. So you're changing the way the brain's working. And then he said, if you were to isolate where you feel that feeling in the body, where is it? And she identified it was like a lump in her sort of gut area. And then he moved her through and eventually asked her if she was ready to just take one end of this stick, which, I mean, she'd done it before, so it wasn't completely new to her. And I was very intrigued. What on earth was that going to do? But of course, he's holding the other end. Now, that's what's key, is because you have connection literally with someone else. And then he asks her to gently just pull on the stick as she's observing what's going on in her body. She's got her eyes closed. She's sat there holding one end of a stick that he's also holding. And very gently, she's applying a bit of resistance. Now, that makes you aware, of course, that there's someone else at the other end. And it's a tactile response. So it's actually feeding in information in the way that the brain needs. It's a felt sense. And this is how we have to resolve trauma, through the felt senses, not through the thinking processes which have brought people to the point of breakdown. Anxiety, of course, is simply the brain's way of shouting at you that something underneath, i.e. in the body, needs to be dealt with, resolved. So I was watching this happen, and as she just located where it was in her body and she felt the sensation of holding, someone literally holding her in this space, that was the message of safety and connection that her body needed to release and let go. And that's when tears started to form, as she just said, it's an emotion. I don't know what it is, and he said, it looks like sadness. And she said, I guess so. And it just spontaneously happened. And she had no idea of what it was in particular, that she didn't have a formed memory. She just had the felt sense being resolved. And then that moved, went away, evaporated, metabolized, whatever you want to term it. And she was left with a profound calm and a connection to herself that had been blocked. And then when he was sure that had resolved, this all took about 10 or 15, maybe 20 minutes, he gently suggested again, allowing, are you ready to let go? And she let go of the stick. And then he just allowed her to take some deep breaths and open her eyes. And he asked her, does anything feel different? Which is exactly what I ask people. Do you feel different? Try and find how you felt before. And she said, everything feels brighter. Everything feels brighter. It's just clearer. My vision is clearer. I just feel at peace. Now that's how we want to resolve trauma. That's how we want to resolve anxiety, chronic pain, fatigue, any of these imprints that live on in the body as unprocessed emotions. And it's what happens to clients that I work with as well. But this is a completely new method to me, and so excited to see it. I am going to look into it a little bit more, but just to let you know that these approaches are here now. We have them. We have the answers for anxiety, for fatigue, for chronic pain, all manner of medically unexplained symptoms. Bell's palsy, for instance, Tourette's, whiplash syndrome. There are so many. They're listed in detail in my book. But the problem is the memory has been incompleted through the body, and so it's stuck and it can't resolve. And so it gives you the symptom as a sort of wake-up call, a message to say, hello, I need you to do something to resolve this. And of course, most people have absolutely no idea what to do, and so they just stuff down the feelings with numbing or distraction until anxiety, kind of, which is the body screaming at you, just takes over. So I want people to understand and to be really encouraged that there are methods out there now that work, and they work remarkably quickly. You don't have to be in therapy for months or years. You can actually do it within, a few sessions usually. It depends on the trauma. If it's a relational trauma, like an attachment trauma, that can sometimes take several, many sessions to resolve, because it's like layers of an onion. You're peeling things away that happens sequentially to that person. And so they're stored almost like an onion in layers. So attachment is a really big form of trauma, by the way, which you might not think of a trauma as being what happened to you when you were first born, or when you went to school, or if you were sent away, or your mother had postnatal depression, but they're all attachment traumas. If you think of trauma as a wound that doesn't heal, it forms a sort of scar tissue over the problem, then that's probably the closest way we can understand what trauma is. It can be the things that happened to you, or the things that didn't happen to you that needed to happen. The lack of support is absolutely key to why some people get traumatized, as is the sensitivity of that person. And many of us are highly sensitive, and we come into the world almost pre-charged to take on emotions of other people and to feel everything which we don't want to feel. And so we are more predisposed to these long-term chronic conditions. So I'm terribly excited to relay this information to you, that there is hope out there, and there are various models to use and to learn with different practitioners who you will no doubt find when you know where to look. So if any of this interests you, do get in touch with me. I can be contacted on alchemytherapies.co.uk. Also, I'm launching this autumn a membership program where we can do group work together and also learn about more of this somatic imprint of trauma. So be delighted to welcome you there. You can find me on myemotionalaudit.com and sign up. So take care. See you soon. Bye for now.